Hello everyone, this is TheNelston. Welcome back to another video. Have you ever wanted to play Assassin in Wynncraft the way that it was intended to be played, weaving in and out of mobs, attacking high priority targets with huge burst DPS, and then backing out before you die? Have you ever wanted a playstyle so intense that you have to pay attention to where you are at every second, otherwise you risk dying from a horde of mobs? If so, I think you're really going to enjoy this video because today we're going to be taking a look at the ETWF Black Spellsteal build. Now this build does some incredible damage and has great sustain, but the trade-off is that it has relatively low EHP and bad mobility if you're not careful and you're not using Vanish with your slider. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. As with any other build video, the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the items. For the helmet, we have Guillotine. For the chestplate, we have Madice. For the leggings, we have Entanglement. For the boots, we have Magnet Repulsor. For ring number 1, we have Drawi Fair. For ring number 2, we have Intensity. For the bracelet, we have Atlas. And finally, for the necklace, we have Tenuto. For the weapon, we have Black. Now, I went for kind of a 100% on the manasteal. I didn't really care about the mana regen or the spell damage too much. I just wanted to be able to spam spells as much as possible. And I did powder it with Courage, so that would be Fire 6, Thunder 6, Fire 6, mostly because I like the Courage effect quite a bit more than the Chain Lightning effect, and in my opinion, the extra DPS is kind of marginal, to be honest. I much rather prefer having the insane boost that you get from Courage. Now, for the offhands, we have Slider with 100% walk speed. This is just to make sure that we can get around easily. And for the second offhand, we have the Shragad, I think it's pronounced as, and this just gives us some additional survivability, so I'm able to basically tank things and not worry too much about dying immediately because of the plus 20 def and plus 20 agi. And of course, the health regen, and the lifesteal. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the build in the Wynn Builder engine. I want to do something a little bit different this time, and instead of just covering the stats, I want to talk a little bit about the synergy between the items and how the build kind of forms itself overall, in order to give you guys a better understanding of how it was made, at least my interpretation of it, since I obviously didn't make the build myself, and hopefully that'll shed a little bit extra light on how these things kind of work. For the helmet, we have Guillotine, and this is nice because it's an ETWF helmet, or Thunder, Water, Fire helmet, which gives 20 stat points overall, and gives a decent amount of sustainability with the mana regen, manasteal, and lifesteal, and of course the spell damage and the raw spell damage are both pretty nice too for buffing your DPS. For the chestplate, we have Madice, which is kind of a standard Spellsteal TWF item that you kind of just slap on. And the reason that is used so often is because it has 30 stat points overall with 10 dex, 10 int, and 10 def. And I mean, it boosts your damage quite a bit with 20% spell damage, fire damage, water damage, and thunder damage. So yeah, there's not much to complain about there. Now, if this was just a pure TWF build, I probably would have used something like Enema Infused Cuirass instead, but as it were, this is an ETWF build, and you don't want to lose those 30 skill points in earth damage, so you want to stick with Madice. For the leggings, we have Entanglement, and this is nice because it provides a massive amount of damage increase with 33% spell damage percent at max, and of course 20 skill points, 10 in dex, 10 in int is really nice as well. You do lose a little bit of sustainability, but I mean, if you're looking at this, you have about 10-3 manasteal and 1-5 mana regen, so it's completely fine. For the boots, we have the Magnet Repulsors, and these guys are nice because, well, you get manasteal, which is kind of, I feel like, the most important stat here, and of course, the raw spell damage is very nice as well for boosting your DPS. The 5 stat points are chill. They do make it so you don't have to use tomes, although really, I don't think that's the most important part of these boots. For the ring number 1, we have Drawi Fair, and this should be pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's just -1 spell cost, pretty simple. Intensity is nice because it boosts your damage by a ton and also gives 425 health. Atlas, my beloved, gives you lifesteal, manasteal, attack speed bonus. And of course, Tenuto, my extra beloved, is just perfect for spellsteal builds all around. I mean, you got good damage, you got low attack speed to proc lifesteal and manasteal more, and 8 stat points to top it all off. So, I mean, just the perfect item. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the spells. The spin attack costs 1 mana and does a total damage of 8.1k. Vanish is a 1 cost spell as well. The multi-hits are a 3 cost spell and they do an average of 21k damage unboosted. Smoke bombs cost 3 mana and do a total damage of 31k. And if I turn this into Vanish, you'll see that everything kind of changes a little bit. I mean, yeah, Courage is insanely good with this build. EHP wise, you're a little bit on the glacier side. I definitely don't recommend taking this into raids just because you might get popped instantly. But yeah, I mean, you don't have negative health regen, so at least you won't be losing health. The defs are fine. The only big one I'd be worried about is air def, which is at negative almost 600. So you may want to powder your armors a little bit with some air 6s, but again, completely up to you. In theory, it would be bad. In practice, it doesn't matter because you have Vanish. You have 1/5 mana regen, 10/3 manasteal. The effective lifesteal is about a little less than 5% of your total EHP, so not bad at all. Exploding has a 16% chance to proc. You have a little bit of minus walk speed, which is why the slider, in my opinion, is so important. And 13% combat XP bonus because, well, why not, right? So now we're going to go ahead and test the build against a combat dummy just to show you guys some of the damage that this thing can output. And then after that, we're going to take this build over to Kira and show you guys how it fares in an actual battle. So that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and try this bad boy out. Of course, what you want to do is you want to first go into Vanish and then go ahead, use your multi-hit, use the combo, and yeah, 96k burst DPS. And just to prove to you guys that this is not me like rigging anything, you can see the island settings, the rules, there's no infinite mana, there's no double IDs, everything is normal as far as things go. So yeah, pretty good DPS. We're gonna go ahead and try one more cycle of that. So again, go into Vanish, multi-hit, spam your clicks, there you go. Once again, 95k DPS. So as you saw from that, this is a very intense playstyle. You have to run in with your black, go smack him a bunch, and then get the heck out of there with the slider. Use the Shragad to restore some of your health, rinse and repeat, try to make sure you don't get hit. It's really challenging in my opinion, but it is a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a really great playstyle. It might be a little too fast-paced if you're just looking for something a little bit more chill. I would recommend the heavy melee playstyle as it is a little bit more, calm and collected. But overall, this is probably my favorite assassin playstyle just because of how hit and run it is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a dislike if you hated it. Subscribe for more content like this. And as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.